channeling the spell. This is going to be a Pyraga. It doesn't kill somehow, and it kills Naiads to land a kill. Oh my god! Here, apparently not, because she is going for the back line. This is instant casting. Might have a chance.
What's up, everybody? My name is KSaun. Welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 4, Week 7, and we are going to have a doubleheader video for you guys today, which means we're going to have Rundall first and Heindler right after. We're going to have 10 battles in total, and it should be a great time. So, first of all, let's take a look at the standings for Rundall here. Before we head into the fights, we have only one team at the moment who has clinched a playoff berth, and that is Chisei, coach of the Hopeless Heroes, currently sitting at 7-1. It's been dominant all season. Only that one blemish on his record against the second place seed, Itomanpr of the 139ers. Now, it's important to note, Itomanpr does have that head-to-head tiebreaker, which means that if these two teams both ended up 9-1 and just won out the rest of the way, Itomanpr would actually jump him for that first seed. He's only listed second right now because he has one less win. In third place, we have a two-way tie between my team, the Los Angeles Ramzas, and Sweetheart's team, the Fundamental Forces, both currently sitting at 5 wins, 2 losses. There's a possibility that one of us could clinch a playoff berth with a win this week, depending on how the other battles go. King Delita of the Fanatical Flares and Quistis of Cosplay Party, both sitting at 5-3 as well. And it's interesting because these teams between 3rd and 6th, I still play against Sweetheart, and King Delita still plays against Quistis. So a lot of this stuff could change quite a bit. And Manta, in 7th place, coach of the Addison Manta Raes, needs to win at minimum 2 out of the last 3 fights to have a chance at making playoffs. Mr. Aloha and Proto, it's easy. You gotta win the last 3 battles or your playoff chances are over at the moment. Unhindered and AllSmokedUp unfortunately will not be participating in the Season 4 playoffs, but they do have a chance to play spoiler over these last couple battles, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they can pull it off. So that is how the standings shake out, guys. Before we head into the fights, I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of the YouTube members, all of these amazing 21 people on the screen. Thank you for all of your support on the channel. It really does help a lot more than you guys realize. So thank you so much, and let's jump into the fights.
Kicking things off for the Rundall League here, we have my team, the Los Angeles Ramzas versus No Glove, No Love, coached by Mr. Aloha. And I'm running my double lightning plus the Time Mage Lemure composition, as it looks like 9S is going to get his AoE buff off, Hatred Reborn from the Vega. And I'm looking and I'm saying, what is this team coming out from Mr. Aloha? It is a full MR team. 25th BAM would be proud as Divine Virtue coming out from the Lilith alongside the Rebelka and the Nasha. And at first when I looked at this team, I said, is Mr. Aloha trolling? Is he trying to give me a win? And you're going to have to see how this fight goes, as that is not the case at all. As Wind Verity's Tiamat comes out, trying to mitigate some of that AP on my side. The Guard Hastage coming out from Lemure along with the Boon of the Lion. I love this initial turn rotation that I'm able to do with Lemure. It is very, very nice. Fleet of Foot coming out from the 9S. So he has increased AoE resistance and hate down, which means Vega is going to be the target of these abilities, and he's got some unit attack resist and some movement to boot. So these 2 lightning units looking to try and carry. Cauterizer coming out from Revelka, though, makes me a bit nervous, as now I realize that this team from Mr. Aloha is here to destroy my AP bars. And if my AP bars go down, I could be in trouble. Immortal Spirit coming out from the Nasha, so she is ready to go with 15,000 damage to try and tank up as best she can. Lemure is going to start channeling a Quicken, and 9S is going to kick this fight off with a Limit Break. He's going to go Neural Hacking. Unit attack resistance drop. This should deal a good chunk. 6,700 damage is a really nice way to start this fight off, as Vega's going to come in, try and proc that Courage on the Nasha. Grudge Bearer is enough. Damage caps 11,999 is a ton. Quicken will land on the Vega, which means he should be able to take out this Nasha. I'm hoping that he can find an AoE for a Limit Break. Actually goes for the Mortal Severance instead. It does not kill the Revelka, but I'm thinking this fight is all but over, right? Not so much. Deflagration Blast comes through, kills 20 AP on both of my units, and Lilith is here to follow up with an AP Devastator, 40 AP down on both my units, and you're going to notice that both of these guys have 0 AP. This standard attack comes out from 9S to try and get some AP back, which is big, as Lemure is going to start channeling a Kuraga to try and top these units off here. So I am fully healed. And it looks all but over, but I have no AP, and Vega has no buffs to go for, so he can't do a thing. Deflagration Blast coming in for a chunk of damage. Again, that Cauterizer proccing again means I have no AP. This Lilith going to come in again with an AP Devastator. Lilith, I told you, I don't have any AP. You don't have to keep killing it. Hyper-reactivity comes through, meaning I don't get to gain any back from the standard attack, and all of a sudden, I am starting to get really nervous, as this fight might not be over in my favor. Vika's going to go for a standard attack. Revelka's going to be able to go again before this heal comes off, though. With 97 AP, she's got plenty. Twin Chi Rupture is a ton of damage. Vika is going to drop, comes back from the re-raise crucially. And it looks like the Fighting Spirit counter procs for 9S. He said, hey, you had a counter, I get one too. Does get a bit of a heal back, and the Kyouma crucially keeping me alive for a while as Power Break does 3,200 damage. And I'm thinking, I need to kill somebody very quickly. 9S finally does get the kill. This one does not get reflexed. And now I'm getting slightly more confident, thinking that I can win this fight here. Vika with only 1 AP is just going to go for the standard attack. Fortunately for me, Lilith is out of AP Devastator. She's going to go for a Power Break attack down onto both units. 9S is going to go double resist, though, as he can't do anything. He says, hey, all these dead bodies are in the way. I'm just going to have to buff here. Kiriga's going to come through. 12 actions left. Vika tries to get the kill. Another reflex, though. Paralyzing Axe is going to miss the Lilith. And Lilith is going to try and return some damage again with a third Power Break, just nerfing that attack stat on my team. With 40 AP and the dead body no longer in the way, Drain Rush will top 9S off. Lemure should be able to come in for another Kiriga here. And, excuse me, it's a Guard Haseja. And as you can see, this fight is going to turn in my favor. I am going to win it. I'm not going to lie, guys. I had a lot of changes of emotions in this fight. When I first entered the battle, like I said, I legitimately thought Mr. Aloha was trolling for a second. He was running 3 MR units. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I was like, are you trying to let me win? And then I was winning really hard, and then all of a sudden, I got terrified. I honestly thought I was going to lose because he just crushed my AP bars. I literally couldn't get any AP back. The Cauterizer refresh just kept killing my AP bar before I could get anything back. If I didn't bring Lemure in this fight, I think I lose. Like, if I ran a different team, there's a good chance that this team might have beaten me. So, mad respect to Mr. Aloha for pulling out the full MR comp. This is 170 cost in our format, or 150, actually. So, yeah, I mean, that was really, really cool. 150 in our format, and honestly gave me a run for my money with one of my strongest comps that I have on my team. So, very, very cool by Mr. Aloha. No glove, no love. Mad respect to him for that fight. And unfortunately, didn't get to chat with him on Discord. But he's a great guy, and best of luck to him in the rest of his fights. Next up, we've got Roar of the Storm versus the Hopeless Heroes. Unhindered versus Chisei. Unhindered, unfortunately, out of the playoffs, looking to try and play spoiler against Chisei, who's been near unstoppable. Chisei running a different composition that we're normally not used to seeing, though. So it looks like Summer, Glassy, Victoria, and Uni coming out. The Ice Water team versus Unhindered's double spear plus Tyrell comp. So very, very cool. Aurora Blessings coming out, probably expecting the Dark and Light team from the Hopeless Heroes. A pretty safe assumption, but this time it looks like caught off guard coming with the Ice Water. The Wind Veritas TMR is used by Tyrell. Arrowfall coming out. And honestly, probably pretty smart that the... Well, I guess the Keen Blade would have already went off, but I was going to say no haste TMR or anything like that. As the Fortress of the Lion coming out from Elda, he's got plenty of AP here. King Bradley TMR on the Victoria, so she's nice and speedy. Does it allow her to lap? It looks like she's going to go before Elda. If she can land a big charm, that could be pretty substantial here. Winter Luartha in range for a Binding Javelin. 3,800 is a good start. Also dropping that healing power. Burst Slash from the Tyrell here. Actually moving Summer Glassy back. Says back the F up, please. As Arrowfall comes through. Does a little bit of chip. Nothing too crazy, though. Victoria, can she find a limit break for a charm? This would be massive if she can. No, she's going to jump up in the air instead, which means she is safe from this attack from the Elda, as he's going to go Lion's Drain. That would have caught her in the AoE, but up in the air, she don't care. As the heal back comes through from the Summer Glassy, so the healing power down, not enough. Sure Thing comes through and lands the stop on Elda. That is brutal. Tyrell is going to go down. Winter Luartha coming in for a limit break with the Explosive Express. But man, I don't know how Unhindered is going to come back from that stop. 5,000 damage onto the Summer Glassy is really nice. But without the main carry of his team to follow up on this, I just don't know. 38 AP on the Victoria. She's going to jump up into the air. Jump comes through. And Winter Luartha is going to fall. 5 AP on the Uni means he's going to go Preventative Medicine. Apparently he can't standard attack from there? I'm confused. Is he out of range, or is this an evasive team or something from Unhindered? I don't know, but Ebb and Flow Barrier comes through from the Summer Glassy. Says, hey, nice barrier, I'll steal it. Jump comes through for about 6k. And this Elda will be slowly whittled down, it looks like. Has a little bit of damage from the Glaciella. Uni should be able to finally join the party. Arrowfall coming through for 1,000 and also lowering some AP. It looks like the phone is going to be locked up for a moment as Victoria gets a standard attack. And this poor Elda is just getting bullied. He is basically chained up like he can't move or do anything. And hopeless heroes remain hopeful as always. I take that back. Elda's coming back to life, but I don't think he can one-shot everybody. So let's all settle down. As Unique comes in, standard attack going to do a little bit. Victoria should be able to clean this up. With 60 AP, she's thinking about it, and she decides to go with the Dark Bahamut. Thankfully, no Esper animation to make us suffer through that, as it looks like Chisei and the Hopeless Heroes pick up another win, keeping his hot season alive. 8-1 record, extremely impressive. Shout out to Unhindered, man. This guy has been so unlucky with things. The fight against Sweetheart was one of the most unlucky things I've ever seen, and this fight was brutal. Catching the stop early on Elda. I mean, obviously, it's one of those things that, you know, sometimes you do have to be prepared for. But in his defense, like, Chisei hadn't run Summer Glassy pretty much all season, so I'm sure he didn't expect Summer Glassy to come out. And the 25% stop attack against Elda, who probably doesn't have high faith, it happens, unfortunate. So unlucky, but huge congrats to Chisei, who's been just absolutely dominant all season. Next up, we've got Sucker Punch versus Fundamental Forces, Proto versus Sweetheart. And Sweetheart is running her patented Starlight Elena plus Sylvie. And it looks like Lisette is in the back to back them up here as Prayer of Resolute Oaths comes out. Bunch of nice debuff resistances. And it looks like Velas needs to click auto. He is going to do so, and he's going to start getting his haste spell online. Instantaneous Tidal Calling coming out from the Summer Elsie, giving some nice elemental resistances, but I don't think any of them are light, unfortunately. Dark, yes. Light, no. As Trinity Mastery comes through from the Lisette. This is an upgrade of the Pugilistic Mastery buff, which is very, very nice for her. Thunder's Protection coming out, though, does give light resistance. So it looks like all the elemental reses are online for Proto. As it looks like Starlight Elena's going to buff. She's going to start walking forward. Velas should be able to haste up the remaining member of Sucker Punch. And Sweetheart in good position to try and make the playoffs, looking to try and keep this hot streak alive. Proto pretty much backs against the wall. I think needs to win this week to try and have a chance at making it, as Stars of Swiftness is going to come through. Call of the Deity coming out. Interesting. So this is, it looks like Proto trying to go with an Esper tech, learning something a little bit from his guildmate Tayo. Doesn't have Terra to enhance it, but interestingly enough, we'll see if they can pull it off. As the Trinity Mastery going to be refreshed, there's a lot of turns buffing here, and we're not able to see the Esper gauge to see how far it is. But this could be an interesting strategy coming out from Proto, as the Evildoers Beware comes out from the Elena, so she's very evasive. Sylvie out of buffs, and basically everybody's out of them. They have used all of theirs that they can. Sakura can't do a damn thing here. Velas is going to walk forward and do a whole lot of nothing, and this is really awkward as these units finally start to close the gap and start this fight. Crystal Shine Bright, though, is enough to just one-shot the Sakura. She never stood a chance. Even that light resistance not paying off. As the Limit Break comes out from Summer Elsie, this is a guaranteed hit. Dreamy Typhoon isn't enough to one-shot or at least proc the Courage. 7,700 is barely not enough. Does kill quite a bit of AP. We'll see if that matters. As the Lisette is going to start walking forward, Sylvie is actually up first, before the Lisette, so I imagine this is a Limit Break. No, she's going to start channeling a spell. I am stunned. She's not going for a Limit Break here. I feel like she would always go for one here. If Velas is able to Limit Break, which he is, this is a guaranteed hit. The Limit Break's going to come down on both Elena and the Lisette, I believe. That is enough to proc the Courage and deal a ton to the Lisette. I think a big mistake by Sylvie not going for the Limit Break. I'm not sure if that's not turned on, or if she just opted for the Curata. But Starlight Elena going to go next, and she is ready to put the hurt out as Prismatic Punishment is coming through. And if I saw the health bar correctly on the left side of the screen, this is going to deal a lot to Summer Elsie, as she is just going to be dunked in one hit. Sweetheart has been trying to convince everybody that Starlight Elena is only 90 costs in our format. Well, she's doing a bad job of convincing us that, as every time she seems to use her, she seems to just pop the hell off with her. So Sweetheart, you need to stop doing so damn well with this unit. As Make-A-Wish comes through, this is going to heal to full. Sylvie says, I was just saving it for later. Don't you guys even sweat it. Gives herself some AP auto restore, and Velas is a great unit, but he doesn't have this in the cards, as he is going to go next. He's going to go level 4 Blizziga, gets dodged by the Elena. deals a little bit of chip to the back 2 line units, but Lisette and Elena should be able to clean this up. Shifting Strike dealing 2300. Starlight Elena goes next, and I think she's going to make this a perfect 3 for 3 on kill, 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 and that is a win again for the Fundamental Forces and Sweetheart. Next up, we've got the 139ers versus the Fanatical Flares. Itomanpr versus King Delita. And this should be a good one. It looks like Itomanpr running a Gargus Sodali Wind Magic Comp alongside Etra to boot, as the Griever's Wings Skull team are being used by the Etra. Curious to see if she will be built evasive at all, as it looks like Black Robed Witch Helena alongside the Rob Horn and Y'shtola team is here. Aurora of Blessings being utilized by the Gargus is a nice move. It will not catch on the Sodali, but I'm not sure how much it'll matter. He should stay back for a little while, as the Steady Summer Flower coming out, trying to nullify some status effects from the other side. Illusion from the Rob Horn, and this should be a good matchup. Etra going to start walking forward with the Griever's Wings again. She's just going to refresh it, which means her haste will be around for a few turns, as long as she is around for a few turns, as the King Bradley team are being used by Sodali, so he is hasted up. And Black Robed Witch Helena, Black Rose Helena, using her buff, she's going to start walking forward. Y'shtola, is she able to get in range to deal damage here? I'm not entirely sure if this is damage or a buff. Rob Horn should be able to kick things off, though, with a Vortex Render. 1900 under the Gargus, but gets dodged by the Etra. That is not a guaranteed hit. Wind Lash, not enough to take out the Y'shtola, surprisingly, as Inevitability goes for the Doom on the Rob. Can't connect, doesn't have the accuracy, so it just goes for the Doom instead, and he says, I've got 3 turns to live, what can I get done with it? As the Immortal Dogma comes out from the Sodali, giving the re-raise to both him and the Gargus. Black Rose Helena coming with the Rose Blast is not accurate enough to hit the Etra, does hit the Gargus, but doesn't do a tremendous amount of damage. Y'shtola is ready to deal more damage, but Etra might just take her out with a punch to the face. She will, and Itomanpr is up to a 3v2 advantage, and that is a ticking time bomb for Rob. Importantly, though, for King Delita, the carry of the team, Helena is still healthy. Gargus manages to shrug that off just barely, as he should be able to go for damage here. He does have guaranteed hits in his kit. Unavailable Pain is enough to one-shot the Rob. He says, I'm not taking the time to wait for Doom. I'm taking this myself into my own hands. Divine Sacrament comes out from the Sodali. Helena, can she find a massive AoE and take these units out? Does she even have the accuracy for the Etra? She dodges the Etra. So this is evasion on both sides here. I'm not surprised to see Rob dodge a hit, but to see Helena dodge a hit with Etra being evasive, it's interesting. Rose Fulmination comes through. This should kill the Gargus. Does it hit the Etra? It does not. It gets dodged again. And just like Friday Night Fights in a couple of weeks ago, Etra is popping the hell off. Black Rose healing comes through, but she didn't need the heal. The Reflect, however, could matter tremendously, as these 2 units on the bottom of your screen here can be reflected. Gargus is probably going to take himself out here. Whatever he's about to use, Flare is going to come through, and this is Joyce going to nuke himself. Sorry, you are denied access. He is dead. This is down to a 2v1. Unavailable Pain coming out for 3,400 damage. But unless she can hit this Etra, it's not going to matter. Etra's going to come in for another arm break. Gets dodged. She says, I may not be able to hit you, but you sure as hell can't hit me either. 115 AP on the Helena. What can she get done? Can she take out this Sodali? She has so much damage in her kit. Rose Blast, 3,400. Honestly mitigated so well. Indoctrination misses, though. And this Helena has moves like Jagger. She is dodging everybody out here. Arm break coming in from the Etra. This time it finally lands, but no disable. Helena might just be able to turn this fight yet. 14 actions left. Soul Harvest comes through. Not enough to take out the Sodali. He still... I don't think he has the re-raise. I think I got stripped. Indoctrination gets dodged again. 12 actions left, and this fight is hype as hell. 48 AP on the Etra. She goes behind. She has so much movement. She is able to get the attack off, but just standard attack. She must have abilities turned off. The Helena is going to go next. Another Rose Blast will take out the Sodali. Sodali will come back from the re-raise, so I take it back. He did still have that online. With 7 actions left, he can't hit this Helena. She keeps dodging over and over, but how much is it going to matter? At some point, Etra's going to win this on turns, but a counter recovery comes through. 4,700 heal. Holy shit, this fight is insanely close. 10 AP, though. She doesn't have enough AP to kill. She has to standard attack. If she was able to AoE kill the Sodali and maybe hit the Etra, she might have had a chance, but Unavailable Pain is going to deal 3,200 damage. She is going to run out of time, and Dark Odin is going to come in, poison the Helena. And I'm going to say it, guys, that Etra was kind of the MVP there. Her just dodging attacks over and over. The Helena, the same thing, but that was an absolutely wild fight. I think if it lasted longer, there was a chance that Helena could have won that. That crucial heal back was pretty big. But man, oh man, heck of a fight by both players here, and a huge congrats to Itomanpr for another win on the season. No Glove, No Love versus my character Romance. Mr. Aloha versus AllSmokedUp. And it looks like Mr. Aloha is running the Mace team with Summer Katone, Raph, and the Slime, who gets to play like a Mace unit, as a couple of Mace units, or at least one Mace unit on the other side as well, with the Glaciella Regalia, Severo, and Stern Wing of Destiny team coming out from Get Funded over here. As Accelerator comes out from the Slime, giving that agility up, he's going to start moving forward. Anti-Magic Wall. It's going to be very nice against these magic threats on the other side, as both of these units should be pretty bulky versus the team of my character Romance. Severo going to start channeling. I imagine this is his haste and courage spell, as it looks like the AoE buff going to be online for the Summer Katone. Regalia Glaciella going to channel something of her own, and it looks like Pinion of Steel coming out from the Stern. So he's got tons of AP, he's got AoE resist, catches the shell from the White Mage sub of Glaciella here, as debuff resistance and all that good stuff here for Raph. I expect her to mitigate damage really well. I think Severo is going to have to go for like a flare or something to deal a decent amount. Regalia Glaciella, though, maybe she can surprise me here, as Sorceress's Liberation coming out from the Summer Katone. And we've seen how much this unit can do from Sandrustra all season, as he has been popping off with her. The Stern Wing of Destiny coming in with 100 edges, does barely any damage, does remove the re-raise, which is for sure value, as the Water Gut Perpetuator coming out for 3,100 damage. Dropping the Bravery, but that won't matter a whole lot, as the shell comes out onto Glaciella as well. Witch Strike this time, dealing 3,600, and from the tank, that's a bad sign here for AllSmokedUp. Emergency Meditation is online for the Slime, so he's got a little bit of a heal back if he gets low, as Summer Katone's going to go Broken Sword, Shattered Staves, good damage on all three. The debuff as well to top things off, but Glaciella Regalia is here to return damage. Can she do anything to this tank? Regal Tranquility, yes, 4,200 actually, is way more than I would have anticipated, but the heal backs are there for both units. Can Stern capitalize? Convergence Plus, drops healing power. Would have liked to see that a little bit sooner, but unfortunate, went right after Glaciella. Water Guard gonna come through this time, taking out the Slime though, and AllSmokedUp is in an okay position here, as Raph is gonna go next. Double Destruction does not take anyone out. Severo, crucially, still has his Courage online. If he is able to get off like a flare onto Summer Katone, that could do a decent amount of damage. Bursting Light comes through, but is enough to double kill, and Severo is the only one left standing. And he is a very strong damage dealer for an SR unit. Flare doing 10k, like I said, could deal a ton, but unless he can Magic Reflex, which he's not going to Magic Reflex, as she just standard attacks him, that fight is over. Honestly, a very valiant effort by AllSmokedUp. That was a close fight. I think if Stern or Glaciella barely lived there, might have been able to turn it on its head, but Summer Katone came in with too much damage there, so huge congrats to No Glove, No Love. Finishing off this week for the Rundall League, we've got the Addison Manta Raes versus Cosplay Party. Manta versus Quistis. Quistis clinches playoffs with a win. Manta increases his chance drastically with a win, as Halloween Lucio is going to go with a physical HP shield alongside the other evasive Earth unit in Winter Frederica. That is Halloween Frederica. Good lord, words are hard, as it looks like Winter Venera, that is what I wanted to say the original time, is on the other side of things, on the side of Manta. And it looks like Katia is going to start channeling a spell. The Mish is going to go with the Sworn 8 Pride Wind. This is the Wind Veritas TMR, neutering that AP on the other side. Dual Veil, Dark and Earth, going to be a nice tech versus the Winter Venera at least, as it will mitigate some of that Earth damage. Guaranteed Hit Nullification is online for Fred, so she is ready to evade things. Reflex, though, speaking of evading things, Halloween Lucio going to go King of the Dead. He will still get haste from this, so it's not for nothing, but Mish living could be big if he is able to deal some damage. He does have a guaranteed hit in his kit. Looking at the turn order, though, Halloween Lucio goes again before him, so he might be able to kill Mish. We'll have to see, but it at least buys another turn for Manta, so that is a pretty big reflex, as Katia is going to start channeling another spell. It's going to be the Calamity Guard. This is a one-hit nullification on everybody, and interestingly enough, as it looks like Resist Magic coming out from the Winter Venera, I could be wrong, I think that disables the HP physical shield. I'll have to see, though, as Vampiric Ripper coming through. Oh my goodness, just one-shots the Mish, one-shots the Winter Venera, And that is bad news for Manta, as Halloween Lucio is coming to play. And it looks like Frederica says, I want some too. Razor's Edge is going to clean it up. There is a very scary win unit on the side of Manta, but not all of the hits connect. However, even without the guaranteed hit, she does land some of them. Are these units low enough to be healed? I don't know if they're below the heal threshold of Kadia, which actually kind of plays to Manta's favor. If she is able to live through a few attacks here, she might be able to find an AoE and find a kill. We'll have to see as the banish comes out from Kadia. So yeah, she is not low enough to find the healing threshold. One of those misses actually might be good for Manta if she's getting an opportunity. Carving Carnival comes out though. If this blind lands, I think it is game over, and it does land. I don't think she is going to have the accuracy to be able to try and turn this fight, as Halloween Lucio is going to go get his physical HP shield on again. So that Calamity Guard originally erasing it, but now he gets it back as Triple Cross is going to come through, and with the blind, you can see she will not have the accuracy anymore to hit these evasion units. As Kadia is going to go next, she is going to go for another heal, I would assume. I don't know if it'll be a TMR heal or just a Curata or something like that. It's Curative Prayer. She selfishly heals herself. She says, screw you guys, I need to live, as Drain Flurry comes in, dropping the defense. Halloween Lucio should be able to capitalize and I think probably claim this kill. The standard attack will do it, and it looks like Quistis and Cosplay Party pick up the win. That seemed like a pretty decisive win, I will say, from Quistis and Cosplay Party. However, that blind didn't land. Honestly, I think there's a world where Glaciella could turn that, but regardless, very well played by Cosplay Party. Let's check out the standings.
All right, guys, 7 weeks of fights in the books. This is how it looks heading into the final week of the Rundall League. And I say final, it is good to know that Rundall will be slightly different than the other leagues. The reason for this is because we had a member drop out before the league actually kicked off. So I modified the Rundall schedule to be a little bit different than the other leagues. And I don't feel right about making it the final week 2 weeks long, because the whole thing was that every member had 2 weeks of double headers, whereas the other leagues, if we did what we were originally planning on, would have had 3 double headers. So this kind of keeps things even, and this was kind of the intention from when I started. So just as a heads up, we only have 1 more week of regular season for Rundall. It is going to be a little different than the other leagues. That being said, this is how these standings shake out here. We've got Chisei, coach of the Hopeless Heroes, currently sitting at 8-1. Again, only has that 1 blemish on his record. He's very, very close to clinching a first round bye. If he were to win 1 more battle and go 9-1 on the season, he would clinch the either first or second seed, which means he has a playoff bye to start. Itomanpr, coach of the 139ers, in a similar position. If he wins his last 2 fights, he will be the 1 seed. If he loses one of those, he has a chance to fall down a little bit depending on what the rest of these other teams do. And as you'll notice, there are 5 asterisks on the screen with the color yellow, which means 5 out of our 6 playoff teams are already clinched heading into the final week. One of them is my team, the Los Angeles Ramzas, so I will be making the playoffs for the 2nd season in a row, which is very, very exciting for me. I'm currently sitting at 6-2, but I have my work cut out for me against a couple of tough opponents, including Sweetheart, coach of Fundamental Forces, who have also clinched a playoff spot. So whoever wins that definitely has a leg up in terms of this seeding. And it'll be interesting to see if there's a potential to jump into a spot where you could get a first round bye, but we'll have to see. It's going to be tough with these other top 2 teams doing so well. Quistis, coach of Cosplay Party, has 1 more loss than both of us, but does have the same amount of wins, has already clinched a playoff berth, can't knock him out of there. I don't think that he can finish as the 1st or 2nd seed, but he will be somewhere between 3rd and 6th. Now, here is where it gets really interesting in the final week. King Delita, coach of the Fanatical Flares, is 5-4. Manta of the Addison Manta Raes is currently sitting at 3-5, so it looks at first glance like King Delita is probably a shoe-in for the playoffs. However, Manta won head-to-head against King Delita earlier on in the season. His Winter Venera just popped the hell off, shutting down Helena the Black Rose. And this is important because the final week, King Delita plays against Quistis, coach of Cosplay Party, who is obviously a very strong opponent and is looking to try and improve his seeding for the playoffs. If King Delita loses and Manta wins both of his final matchups against Unhindered and AllSmokedUp, Manta would jump King Delita for that 6th playoff spot. They would both be 5-5, and Manta would sneak in the final week. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. King Delita, it's very simple, win and in. Manta needs to win both fights, and King Delita has to lose for Manta to get in there. Mr. Aloha and Proto, unfortunately, cannot make the playoffs. They can still play spoiler in that final week. but their playoff chances were removed this week based on their results. Unhindered and AllSmokedUp at 1-8 and 0-9 do not have a chance to make the playoffs either. So obviously, with 1 week remaining, the playoff picture is pretty clear in terms of who is going to be there. The only question mark, is it going to be King Delita or is it going to be Manta who takes that final spot? We will have to find out, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching this. We've got another batch of battles here, 4 more for the Heindler League. So let's jump in and check that out. All right, guys, jumping into the Heindler League heading into week 7, I just wanted to show this was the graphic for the standings after last week. However, this is going to be changing a little bit as unfortunately Katra, dealing with some real life stuff, is unfortunately dropping out of the WDL and out of the Heindler League. So he was currently sitting at a 3-5 record. If you guys remember, 6-8 was actually a part of this league as well, was 0-4 at the time and dropped out. And what we decided to do was essentially give everybody a win for facing off against 6-8, basically just a forfeit win. And that was a little easier to do because 6-8 didn't have any wins at the moment. Unfortunately, Katra did have 3 wins up to this point in his first 8 battles, so it does make it a little trickier. And after going over a few different ideas of how I could treat this, I decided that the most fair way to do it was essentially treat it as if Katra was never part of the league, so that the 10 teams that are remaining, at least their win-loss record would essentially just be against each other. Now, I didn't feel good taking a win away from the teams that had already earned a win from him, so instead of just not including it in the win-loss, I changed essentially everybody in the league to a win. So the 3 teams that already lost to him, which I think one of them might have been 6-8, I'm not entirely sure, I basically just changed to a win. So one thing you're going to notice is that the standings will change a little bit. I think Maughanman and Dr. Dickhead will get some benefit from this, and Kyouma also will get some benefit from this. But that being said, I think this is the most fair way to do it. I feel good about the decision, even though it kind of sucks. There's no perfect way to do it, but I think this is the most fair way. And honestly, with so many teams competing for playoffs, they still play each other a lot over these last final weeks, and I think it will kind of sort itself out by the end of it. So just as a heads up, guys, this standings is not really going to be clear. At the end of the video, after the battles are done, I will show you the updated standings, and that will give you a better perspective. So without further ado, guys, we've got 4 fights to jump into. Let's check them out.
Kicking things off with the Heindler League, we've got a couple of teams competing at the top of the table here for the standings. We've got Kyouma, coach of S.E.E.S versus 3-legged pants of Impaler, with the immediate win Veritas TMR coming out from Lucio. Looks like the Courage is online for the Summer Glassy, rocking 16,000 HP. Does Impaler have the damage to get through that monster of a tank, as he is running a double Earth Pierce team alongside Velas to support. Very cool to see as the Keenblade coming out from the Oberon Heindler here, getting that CT up on the entire party. Lorenzo going to go next with the Win Veritas TMR of his own. He says, hey, nice TMR, I'm going to use that as well. He's going to start walking forward. Tyrell going to go Keenblade, and we see a common thread. Rob TMR, Win Veritas TMR, they are both really damn strong as the Stars of Swiftness comes through. Valis is also going to use it on the Lorenzo, so the entire team of Impaler is nice and hasted up. They are certainly going to have the speed advantage. Luminous Grace coming out from the Lucio, though, on the turn here. Should be a decent amount of damage. Drops the light resistance. 6,800 is a good chunk onto that Lorenzo. Oberon's going to go next, though, with 88 AP. And one thing I will say, Lucio has very little of his own. Might have been a little bit of a bait. Could be to the advantage of Impaler as the big old limit break from the Oberon Heindler comes out. He was already hasted up, but he's just going to refresh it, give himself some unit attack resistance. I will say, Lucio resisted that damage insanely freaking well, though, especially considering the fact that it drops that elemental resistance. Speaking of debuffs, Divine Power online for the Tyrell means he will not get debuffed in any sort of way. Lorenzo going to jump up to the sky, try and pierce him, though. Barrier Break Dive resisted very, very well by Kyouma here, as it looks like Vel is going to go with the Snow Healing top off the team, get some agility up, so if they weren't fast enough with the haste, they're going to gain more agility here. Subjugating Spear, not a lot of damage, and both teams, well, at least Kyoumu's team, mitigating damage quite well. Lucio out of AP actually goes for Store. He's only got 19 AP, but the next hit should hit pretty hard. Sure Thing comes out. Does it stop land? It does not. Not sure if the stop resistance is online or just a lucky break, but Impaler does not get stopped here. Neither one of his units. Lorenzo going to back up so he can jump way the hell up into the air. Velis is going to start channeling another spell. Eternal Frost comes out and it one-shots the Tyrell. He was mitigating damage against the Pierce really well, but Velis steps in and seals the kill. Subjugating Spear doing just a tiny bit. Dive of Destruction, almost 3k onto the Kyouma. It seems Kyouma was very prepared for this Pierce team, but not for the Velis. Tons of damage will kill the Lorenzo, but with the healer Velis in the back, I think the edge goes to Impaler here. Velis, is he going to go for a heal? He's just in offensive mode. He says, I don't want to do no healing. Screw that. He's going to kill the Lucio. It is down to a 1v2. Woven Claws comes out. Honestly, a decent amount of damage. If any tank could pull this off, it is Summer Glassy. We'll have to see if she can swing this 1v2 as Soaring Dragon Spear comes down, drops the Pierce attack resistance, but she's taking so little from that. Thunder Smite comes out for 187 damage. You gotta be kidding me. This is insane how well she's tanking. Velis is up next with the snow healing, so finally he does heal. He said, okay, fine, I'll win the old-fashioned way. 1700 damage on the standard attack, but I think this is going to take a while for Impaler to be able to get through Kyuma's team. Sub-Zero comes out for 4280. I take it back. Ice resistance down and a good chunk of damage. Oberon going to follow up with a halting spear. No stop there either, so both teams being able to withstand some of these stop chances. The Slight Delight is going to drop the CT. Standard attack just poking through the Summer Glassy, but unless Summer Glassy can kill somebody and win on turns, there's just no way here. As snow healing comes through, both of Impaler's units are going to be topped up to full. The standard attack, she's deciding who the hell to attack. She keeps changing her mind here, as Oberon's going to jump up into the skies. Velis is going to go next. He's thinking about what the hell to do. He's going height-based Blizzard. It will take out the Summer Glassy, and Impaler in a three-legged pants continue their tremendous season as they only have 2 losses up to this point. Really, really impressive. A very valiant effort by Kyouma and S.E.E.S, though, who mitigated that Pierce damage really, really well. But that Velis was really, really pesky and definitely the MVP of that fight. Next up, we've got Polarity versus a Raes from the Crashes. Xeno versus Snark. Magnetic Force from the Esther immediately, alongside the 2 fire units in Hio and Marguerite. Keenblade coming out from the Hio, unfortunately not landing on all 3. But that's alright, as Marguerite is going to start channeling a spell. Guard Haste going on to the Hio to give himself some haste. So already some CT up, already some haste. He's going to be very, very quick here. But Ildira says, I'm going to match that with my own Ildira's Theorem. Should be CT up onto everybody here. Is this going to land? It actually only lands on the Winter Wrath, excuse me, but it does nullify some status effects. Also gives that Man-Eater down, which is really, really sleeper in terms of mitigating how much damage from the other side comes out, especially with the Protect from the Dual Veil Darkened Earth of Kadia. Even when you don't catch the extra elemental resistances, still a fantastic buff. Kadia is very, very strong for 50 cost in our format as Fairy Guard comes through. Winter Wrath's TMR being utilized by the other Mace unit. Dispelling Violet comes through 6,100 damage onto the Esther. Is a lot to start this fight off. Guard Haste coming through again. So no Quicken, just refreshing the haste that got removed. And it looks like Esther with 50 or 4 AP is not long for this fight. She is going to go for the Limit Break, though. What can she find with the Bunny Bolt Blitz? This is going to have to do a lot of damage to have a chance. With the Protect on the other side, though, I'm not so sure. 4k onto the Kadia is decent, but Winter Wrath, you don't even notice that she took any damage there as the Calamity Guard comes through the one-hit shield onto both units. Hio is going to go next, and he's going to find the Limit Break. Can he possibly take out this Kadia before she is able to do any more healing, any more supporting? Not quite. There's a huge slash chain started on that side, but she is not going to go down. Winter Wrath is going to find the Limit Break. This should proc the Courage for Esther. I believe she still has Courage. I believe she used that. I'm not 100% sure if she used that, actually. She did not use it. She only used her AoE buff, and she started to move forward. The Slow is going to land onto the Hio. And that haste really not doing much for him, as it looks like it got mitigated and turned into a slow on the other side. Marguerite might be able to try and change it back. She can, but it's going to be too little too late here, as Kadia is going to start walking forward. She might even go offensively, as he is going to be next with 57 AP. Unknown Trader. It's a good chunk of damage onto the Kadia, but again, Winter Wrath just soaking that up so well. Banish for 3,600 damage. Trying to banish Hio into the Shadow Realm. Ildira is going to fully heal the team. We've seen these Mace comps just put in so much work, as the Punishment will proc the Courage from the Hio. Their cards are just so damn good that sometimes these unorthodox compositions can be really good. And with so many buffs from the Ildira and Kadia, you wouldn't think this team is tanky, but they are. They just are tanky from all those buffs that they give. Quicken coming out from the Marguerite. Hio might finally be able to take out this Kadia. No, he's out of AP. Has to go for the standard attack, unfortunately, as the Curative Prayer comes through from Kadia. So if you thought there was a chance Winter Wrath was going to die, that is no longer a chance, as Winter Wrath is starting to channel. Height 2 Kiriga, again from the Ildira, will fully top the team off. And Befuddling Spearfall will all but seal this game, as Marguerite just has a little bit of HP left. Kadia is going to try and seal it with probably a banish. And she does banish her to the Shadow Realm. That is a win by Polarity and Xeno, who officially clinch a playoff spot in Season 4. Congratulations. Next fight is Lucianramz, coach of Lone Shadows, versus Dirty Slushie, coached by Maughanman. And Lucianramz trying to keep pace in this playoff race here as the illusion comes out from the Shadowlinks alongside the other Shadowlinks and the Sylvie, this dark and light comp coming out from Lucianramz, with the Elda, King of the Lions, alongside Nasha and Valade from Dirty Slushie here. We'll have to see who ends up taking this fight. Is the accuracy there for Maughanman is the big question. We've seen the Shadowlinks from Lucianramz pop off. And when I say that, I mean both Shadowlinks, as both of them have put in some work over the course of the season. The Ice Vitalization, though, is a major thing in making sure that the accuracy is there for Dirty Slushie. So bringing Valade here could be the answer to the problems for Maughanman in this fight. A zombie TMR coming out from the Shadowlinks, going to pop that re-raise, going to start walking forward. Looks like a lot of range skills turned off. I think Lucianramz does typically try and opt for that Shadow Tether, as the perfect launch comes out from the Shadowlinks on ice, dealing a little bit of damage, but not too much. Binding Javelin is almost enough to kill the Shadowlinks, but crucially, she lives, as she should catch a limit break from the Sylvie. And man, oh man, will that be the difference in this fight? We're going to have to find out here. Shadowlinks does not get fully healed. 4,800, but does have a one-hit barrier online, which means she might be able to at least live through Nasha's damage. Probably doesn't live through the Eldas, though, as he does have that accuracy from Blade. Utsu Semi comes out, and again, the Immobilize is actually huge here. With those range skills turned off for Lucianramz's Shadowlinks, she is not able to get in and deal anything until they get close to her. And that is brutal, as she would normally be able to find something. Triple something combination? I wanted to say true triple combustion, but that is Roy Mustang. That is an entirely different unit. As Lion's Drain comes through, Elda's going to kill the Shadowlinks, the MR. She does respawn with a re-raise. She should be able to at least get an opportunity to deal one attack, but this Sylvie is caught in no man's land with the Bunny's protection. She does give herself some re-raise. It will be in a good spot where she can full life the Shadowlinks if she does die soon. So this fight, even though it looks grim for Lucianramz, is far but over. If she lands a stop, this could be huge. Shadow Tether comes out, 6k, the stop does not land. That is huge. Very good preparation by Maughanman here. Standard attack coming through and just dealing a little bit of chip. Elda should be able to take out this Shadowlinks. Can he find an AoE on these two? That is a weird angle. Yes, he can. Lion's Drain going to heal himself back up to full. Shadowlinks is now dead. And Sylvia is caught in a weird spot. She needs to get forward to get this full life off. She is not going to. She's in the back. She's in a stuck buff rotation. And Maughanman looking to pull off an upset here as Blade Bash comes out for 2,600 damage. I don't think Shadowlinks on ice is going to last to get another attack off. Kurata comes out from the Valade. And this fight has turned on its head in a very one-sided fashion. Here's Elda with 47 AP. Cleansing Spear will cleanse Shadowlinks of this world. And in a 3v1 advantage, I don't know how Sylvie could pull this off. She needs to get way forward to get a full life. The True Paladin Strike will deal 2,100, which is a good start. But it's far from enough, as Valade is starting to channel another spell. Here's a nice vitalization for your troubles. Nasha going to go with the Divine Veil to make herself even more tanky. Nullify some of those statuses, not that they would ever matter. As it looks like Elda still sitting with 32 AP. He is very healthy. He's in a good spot to take over 3,300 damage. Sylvie might try and make this as annoying as possible and last longer in terms of this fight, as she does go with the Knight's Blessing TMR. But there's just no way. Unless she brought back one of her friends early on, I don't think there's any way to get through this. There's still a tank. There's still a healer. And Elda has too much damage. A lot of stat upgrades from the Valade as well, as he standard attacks to get some AP back. And Sylvie might be able to stall this out onto turns, but she certainly can't win this. And this is a huge win for Maughanman, a huge, it's kind of a big loss for Lucianramz. He, I believe, will still control his own destiny for playoffs, but this is a big one, as he was fighting with a lot of other teams here to try and make that top 6. He still obviously has an opportunity, but this is a big win for Maughanman, and I'm sure some other players near the top are celebrating this victory for Maughanman here as the Ice Vitalization comes through. The stun is still there. Sylvie is still stunned. Nasha's going to deal a little bit of damage. Regenerator comes through. It does not heal her. It just gives her regen. Thank God, as that would draw this fight out even longer. As 5 actions are remaining, we know the result of this. Eventually it'll happen. Clever Paladin Strike gets dodged by the Elda, interestingly enough. As he's out of AP, the standard attack just barely doesn't kill. Valade, can you just go attack her and put me out of my misery, please? As Nasha is going to go next. The Curado will heal Valade to full. Does Nasha even have the damage to take her out? She, I think, does. She's going to go Gigantic Rockfall. The Golem Esper with all the, looks like Pierce Res? Maybe it was just a lot of defense. Earth Res? I don't know what the plan was, but regardless, it worked. As Cleansing Spear comes through, this will not go to turns. Elda says, with 1 action left, I will take this fight into my hands. I will seal the deal, and a huge win for Dirty Slushie and Maughanman. All right, guys, before I break down the standings for you, I just wanted to give a quick heads up. Dawn was supposed to play against Odaiba Diver this week. Unfortunately, there has been some scheduling issues. Dawn really hasn't heard much of a response yet from Odaiba. At this point, while I'm filming this, it's past 48 hours past the due date, and they still don't have a match scheduled. So I told Odaiba that I would give him probably like 4 or 5 more hours to try and reach out and schedule, but if he didn't hear from him, that I would essentially give Dawn the win. So assuming this video is posted, I think that's probably what is happening. So Dawn, unfortunately, is going to get a forfeit victory over Odaiba here this week. I would have loved to cast a battle, and I hate to do that, but I can't have people submitting super late all the time because it kind of sets a precedent. So just as a heads up to everybody, I'm sorry for no match on that one, but Dawn does get the win over Odaiba, and you will see my face in a moment to break down the rest of the standings. All right, guys, 7 weeks over and done with. This is how the Heindler League shakes out. We've got a couple of interesting things to go over. First of all, I wanted to mention there are 10 teams obviously on this graphic. We started the league with 12. I am changing how I am displaying this. Some of these teams are going to show that they've played 10 total games, where some have played 9. The reason for this is the people that have 10 games on this graphic, I'm already putting in this graphic their win for matches that would have come against Katra or 6-8 in the final couple weeks. Again, giving a win to everybody in the league is the exact same as just taking the wins out of that column for everybody, but I would rather just see more wins in the win column, especially because some of these teams did actually earn a win. So that is why it looks a little weird right now, but I thought this was the more accurate way to display how the standings are, because if a team is guaranteed to get another win, it seems weird to list them at 7-2 instead of 8-2, and that is why I've made that change. But before we get into this, I wanted to go over the bottom of the standings before we talk about the playoffs. We've got Maughanman of Dirty Slushie, Dr. Dickhead of the Knobgoblins, and Snark of Arise from the Crashes. Now, these 3 teams have officially been eliminated from playoff contention. They cannot make the top 6. Maughanman of Dirty Slushie and Dr. Dickhead of the Knobgoblins currently sitting in the 8th and 9th seed. I want to point out, 2 of their wins, I believe, were losses before to Katra, or one of them was a loss to Katra, and the other one was essentially a forfeit win against 6-8. This is something I bring up because Snark actually beat 6-8 head-to-head and also beat Katra head-to-head. So he actually battled both of those 2 teams. So the win-loss is a little weird here because Snark, based on tiebreaker losing to Dr. Dickhead, is currently sitting in the 10th seed. Now, normally this really wouldn't matter that much because all of these 3 teams are eliminated from playoffs, so it's kind of like, does it really matter that much? But because Snark has actually won the most real battles, and this season I've put in place where in all of the leagues, or the 3 promotional leagues rather, the 10th through 12th seed are essentially eligible to be replaced by new players if we get enough people who really want to join the league for the next season. I'm making a special exception in this case. If Snark finishes this season in the 10th seed, I'm going to allow him into the next season if he wants to join. The reason for this is because obviously I made this change because I think it makes the most sense in terms of how to handle this situation for the playoffs. But at the end of the season, if Dr. Dickhead and Snark are tied with the exact same amount of wins, and Dr. Dickhead won the tiebreaker, so Snark gets kicked from the league,
but Snark actually won 2 more physical battles. That feels really bad to me. That feels like a really weird punishment to Snark, and I don't think that's fair. So if Maughanman or Dr. Dickhead or Lucian or somebody else ends up in the last seed, I will keep how I've done it with the other leagues, and that person will be eligible to be replaced by a new player. However, if Snark is last, he's just going to get his spot if he wants it. So I know that sounds weird, but I don't want him to be punished by not even getting to play because of this situation happening. It's an unfortunate situation, and we're going to try and make the best of it. But yeah, so that is kind of why I wanted to cover that. Before we get into the good stuff, in terms of who makes the playoffs. So we have 3 teams that have clinched a playoff position here. We have Xeno, coach of Polarity, and Impaler, coach of Three-Legged Pants, both sitting at 8-2. Xeno has the head-to-head tiebreaker, and King has the same amount of losses, currently sitting at 7-2. I forgot to take that tiebreaker spot out, so I do apologize. That's a little confusing, as it shows 1-0-0-1 for King and Dawn. That's obviously not accurate, as they don't have the same record. Dawn, sitting at 7-3, surprisingly enough, has not clinched a playoff spot. He's very likely to make it, but it's not guaranteed. Lucianramz still plays against Dawn, and he also plays against Kyouma. There is some weird tiebreaker situation where multiple teams could end up at 7-4 as an overall record, and Dawn could potentially not make it. The chances are small, but he has technically not clinched the position yet. Kyouma and Odaiba are currently sitting at 6-3, have not played each other yet either, and that is where some of this convolution can come, because there is a decent chance we could end up with 3 teams tied all at the same record. Lucianramz of Lone Shadows currently sitting at 5-4. So we've got 3 teams clinched, 4 teams fighting for those last 3 spots. It should be really interesting to see who ends up coming out with it. We've got a couple more weeks of fights for you guys for the Heindler League, and it should be fun. So thank you guys so much for sticking around in this video. I know it was a little longer, but I wanted to do a doubleheader video this week, especially because Heindler only had 4 battles. I thought it might be a little more fun. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.